must be.
Dave,
Yes, Boater.
how is Aerith like Mediterranean cuisine? How is Aerith like Mediterranean cuisine?
Takes a while to get used to, and then you have a really sour time at the end.
You can find both on Skewers.
Bam!
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nerd Glasses podcast. I'm Butter.
I'm Dave, man. I like us. We have fun here on the Nerd Glasses. Actually, to be honest, we just have fun.
As is usual, I tried to relate the opening joke to one of our topics, and that is the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which comes out next month, but a demo dropped, and we will be talking about that a little later in the program.
Did it drop on my channel?
Yeah. But first off, for those of you that aren't aware, I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/butterbug, and on that channel we've started releasing episodes of games called Prey. 2 different games by the same title, separated by 11 years. And what we're doing is that we play rock, paper, scissors, and then whichever one wins determines which game is played. And it turns out, Dave,
I lost a lot.
that rock, paper, scissors can be used actually a lot in professional gaming circuits. During a qualifying round match of the FIFA 20 FUT Champions Cup during last Thursday, when there were connection problems and server issues, whatever, 2 players who were unable to connect to each other decided to determine the results of their match by playing rock, paper, scissors. It was not an elimination match. No one got eliminated. And after EA reached out, they're like, well, actually, nobody won. They both count as losses because they couldn't connect. Which, okay, makes sense. But it's still like... okay, official from statement from EA via their Twitter. During the FUT Champions Cup Stage 5 qualifying tournament, 2 competitors decided to play rock, paper, scissors to determine the match winner after they were unable to connect. For context, a double failure to connect and compete in a qualifying tournament results in a loss for both participants. This is to prevent connection issues from being exploited as a competitive advantage. In other words, to keep from automatically dropping and saying, whoops, well, because I wasn't doing well, so I guess we got to do that again. Did not eliminate either player from the competition, as both competed in subsequent matches, but they did not end up advancing in the tournament. And it's just I don't know, that struck me as just 2 guys that are like, all right, cool, this is, professional level FIFA. And try, not bad-mouthing EA like our FIFA topic last week was, but EA's like, oh, well, we gotta look into what happened here. Well, what happened was that your servers are poop, and you don't allow for direct connections, which kind of makes sense because they need to, it's a sanctioned event and it should go through their servers rather than any sort of network tomfoolery happening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just... That's so funny that, once again, these large companies every week hand out news stories like this, where this is pro-level play for FIFA, and yet people can't connect to the game because why would you bother to get servers for that? It's just, your big tournaments for this.
It's like they use the same servers as everybody else. There's not a separate server. If there were dedicated servers, the old way of doing network whatever.
Yeah.
If there were dedicated servers, EA could be like, your server is at this IP. I remember doing that at LAN parties way back in the day.
Yeah.
We would, have the tournament schedule, and then, okay, so-and-so is hosting and so-and-so is connecting to them. So just you set up your EA tournament server and have them connect to that, rather than go through the public servers, which obviously are prone to EA. That was a good one to start on. Rock, paper, scissors is used in a professional manner for EA. If it's good enough for EA, but gosh darn it, it's good enough for Butterbug.
You mentioned EA, and I just wanted to mention that reminded me that earlier this week I saw an article about a streamer that I love to make fun of, and he recently got banned. Do you mind if I derail the whole topic?
This isn't the one from someone other than the one from
someone other than the last guy.
Okay, yeah, by all means. I was done with the rock paper scissors. That said all that needed to. But
do the letters XQC mean anything to you?
No, very close to XKCD, but no.
XQC is a streamer and professional gamer who was an Overwatch player, played a lot of other FPSs and third-person shooters, and recently got himself banned on Twitch for showing nudity on his channel.
Okay.
This is the same mouthy clown that was making fun of other streamers who use content that the community can strike against them and use against them, which is stupid, and making fun of streamers who have other issues and this and that and the other. This is the same man that got himself kicked out of the Overwatch League because they had very express rules of don't sell accounts to people, don't do this and don't do that, and he did all of those things, and then he was being uber toxic about it.
Like all those things that are in the terms of service, you don't read it. I'm not going to say you may not read it. You don't read it, but it's still binding for as far as using a company's service.
And so he was playing a hentai game called Strip 4 Classmate Study on his stream.
What was the name of that again?
Strip 4 Classmate Study.
Okay.
Take notes, folks. And apparently he got himself banned for playing a known hentai game. Because, when you get paid, once again, like we talked about last week with that guy, when you get paid by an organization to do things, and they have a lot of rules, but they've got like 6 that are pretty important, and then you violate one of the 6 ones, and then you act shocked when they bring the ban hammer down. But recently, so I was kind of enjoying it, reveling in his ban.
Even if you're not getting paid by, Twitch or whatever, just don't. All of them have those policies up there. Stream to Pornhub, I think, is a thing you can do. They'll enjoy it. Don't do it on Twitch.
Interesting. But then his entire community started posting in Reddit and other fan forums that he may have actually gotten himself banned so that he could take a break.
Oh! Okay.
Because as, when your entire job requires you to be on time and at a place at a certain time and do something, everyone wants a break from that every once in a while. Now, whereas your conventional 9-to-5 jobs, there is sick days, there are call-outs, you can get people to cover your shifts.
Ideally paid vacation.
Yes. In streaming...
Yeah, that's really hard to...
Oh, wait!
Yeah. Because you are
every
that
week,
personality.
The Weekend Wednesday has been live every week since 2017 because I ask Mike, I ask you, I ask other folks to cover it. I get that there's a certain amount of milieu in larger programs and smaller programs, but instead of getting yourself ban-hammered, why not ask one of your many friends, if you have any, to cover it?
There's a big YouTube channel run by Tom Scott, who is fantastic, really cool educational stuff. His latest video was of an optical illusion with using cameras, whatever, making it look like stopping lasers in midair, which is not how things work in real life. Really cool. And what he does once or twice a year is that he says, I'm going to be going on holiday, vacation for those of us here in the States, for the month of February. And way back in November or December, he will have people pitch ideas for video. He does one upload a week, and so during the month of February, he just really quick says, hey, here's a video from Technicality, where he pitched it and said, I have one of my sister's teeth, and a bottle of Coke, and I'm ready to see what happens submerging them. Sure, you've pitched your video, and then a guest video comes out. So that's one thing that YouTube can be really nice for, is that the asynchronicity lets you get a lot of stuff done ahead of time. Assuming that you can work with it, and be able to have people guest do stuff. I had people guest host the recap for me last year, which you were gracious enough to do one of those, and that was fun too. Even though I still ended up doing the edit. Streaming is a lot harder to do that because people definitely are tuning in for one thing, but it can be done. You need to put that effort into it.
I'm gonna spoiler alert some stuff for you, folks. If you have a product and people like that product. If the product is an individual, You know what you can easily do? And I'm going to give you this for free. This is Dave Mann's advice for you in life. If you just give a little bit of a rub to the folks around you, just a little bit. Casually mention 2 weeks in a row. By the way, I like this person. That person's great. Thanks to this person, this and that and the other. All of a sudden, you're helping without actually having to forego something of your own.
Yeah.
For example, I love Mike. It's why I picked Mike to help me start streaming with me all the time. And it's why anytime Mike wants to host my stream, damn it all, he can have it. It's that I acknowledge that when the camera turned on the first time Mike was ever hosting the Weekend Wednesday without me, immediately all of my community regulars knew who he was, knew what he did, and knew what he could bring. Not hard. Not hard. It's if you have talented friends. I'm very fortunate where I have a lot of them. They're on this network, or they're sitting across a table from me, or they're in YouTube videos that I feature with. Good for all. But you know, professional streamers try a little bit harder. Let's be a little bit realistic with a lot of
most do. It's like that's again, to go back to it, to just basically get banned at least temporarily in order to take a break is a very extreme measure, and I don't necessarily buy that that's why he did it, but that might be why he was okay with the fallout for a while, and then he'll go on to another network when he comes back. Mr. Wet, always love to hop into the Weekend Wednesday. It's always a great time. Anything else on that individual?
He's an enormous clown, and I don't get him. I watched a lot of his stuff. I just don't get it. Pretty good Overwatch player.
The thing is,
I don't get it.
And because so much is personality based on YouTube and Twitch, that if you don't get a single person, that's fine. There's so many people out there for so many different audiences. So it's really cool. Like, I love the popularity of like, we're doing really well here on the network, and like, I generally don't much care for Call of Duty, but I might tune in for the people that are here, or it might be like, all right, cool, I'll tune in for this, even though like I might mostly watch a certain show here on the network. You know, not all shows on this network are going to be for everyone, and that's okay. That's why we have so much variety. If you don't get it, that's fine. There's other people.
By the way, here's your mandatory plug for that heart that's right above Boater's head. You can hit that. You can hit the subscribe on YouTube. You can hit the follow on I actually have no idea what it is on Mixer.
Oh, jeez.
And
follow us on Facebook.
And follow the page on Facebook, because without you, it doesn't happen.
Speaking of Facebook and other social media, for those of you that, again, know I wear the Ritual Motion gaming gloves. My other one is in the back room somewhere. That's fine. It's wrist support.
CJ Playmaker, I challenge everyone to hit the heart icon.
So one thing that Ritual Motion did recently was that they had a survey, a gamer wellness survey. And they haven't done like a big blog post on some of the findings yet, but they did release a picture today with some of the findings on Facebook, on Twitter, and this is just like, you know, gaming is a really fun hobby that comes with its own issues. And, you know, way back in the day there was, quote, Nintendonitis, as far as like holding a controller for so long and just like not being good for joints or everything like that. But this went, you know, a little beyond that. Again, 69% suffer from wrist pain, which again the gloves are good for, but let's see, 55% experience headaches from gaming. These help. The yellow gunners, or just basically blue light filtering glasses, or if you're just on your phone, set it to a blue light filtering mode, and that's less likely to cause headaches, whatever. And then 66% reported sleep issues, and again, that's using the blue light filter on your phone. There are tools out where we're finding out more things that health-wise that gaming can bring to the table, because it is becoming more widespread. It's not just the 20-year-old guys that can bounce back from anything, can fall off of a 3-story building, that smarted a little. There's a lot of people that play games, and so there's a wide base for this kind of thing. Now, I'm not saying that Ritual Motion's base that they got the survey from is super statistically significant. I asked if they're going to do a blog post, and they hadn't responded to me by this point today. because I'm interested to know what some of the demographics are like that reports these, but and what other findings that they had. It's really neat stuff. But anyway, I did mention before the Ritual Motion gloves, and so I am just going to drop my link into here again. You can follow the link that I dropped into chat, ritualmotion.com/chat. The referral link there does get me credit, but also if enough comes in, then I might be able, like, they have a thing going this month that if enough people buy through your link, then I'll be able to offer, like, coupon codes, which I can offer to people here on the network.
And I'll reshare that link on the restream so that everyone watching on
Yes.
all the platforms.
Yes, sorry, I dropped it into Twitch, so Dave, thank you for dropping that on the restream there. So that link can be used to get gaming gloves or really anything from their store because they have like tumblers, shirts, or whatever like that. I hope to be able to make Boaterbug stuff available, and maybe down the line we can get some Insane Games TV stuff going. But again, if people follow that, I may eventually be able to offer like discount codes. So anyway, that's that. That was the wellness survey from Ritual Motion. And with that, and then the Twitter thing on the other side, I'm done with this sheet of paper.
So
and that's actually my topics done, so you go on
a
ahead.
question from chat.
Yes!
Fat Boy with the Chain wants to know, what should a show play to pique boaters' interest? IDK, say the Dream Team. What game, if you saw Insane Games TV is live, and they are playing, insert game. What game would pique your interest? Don't spoil the question for the viewer question, though.
Yeah.
If that's the game in mind.
No, I honestly, I don't watch streamers all that often, but if it's a game that I've played recently, I absolutely love going in, or like that I've played a ton. I love going in and seeing what people are doing. We've gotten some comments on the 2017 Prey playthrough of people that have super enjoyed that game, and they're like, oh man, I can't wait to see how you play that. Same as when I see someone playing Mass Effect for the first time, I'm like, I'm here. I don't play too many like competitive games that the Dream Team would really get into that much, so I can't really say from that perspective, unless it's going to be like Tom steamrolling in Halo something or other, just because that's amusing to watch, because I've been on the receiving end of that.
In fact, you're hard-pressed to find someone who is on Insane Games TV that Tom has not bench pressed in one video game or another.
To return to the wellness survey thing, do you think our knowledge...
Logan has his hand up immediately.
Oh boy. Do you think our knowledge of some of the negative physical effects of gaming come first from early hard critics and fearmongers?
Yes, but...
It's one of those things where it's like, yes, they definitely exist, but there's also the people that will take that and be like, oh, you shouldn't game because blank. Oh, you shouldn't be... Don't sit so close to the TV, your eyes will cross and stay that way. It just goes back to the same, it's the next media forward. Stop reading all those comics, your mind's going to rot.
Just as a quick survey, did you play a lot of video games growing up?
Yes.
And you wear glasses?
Yes.
And I played a lot of video games growing up, and I wear glasses?
Yes.
Logan, did you play a lot of video games growing up? Do you have contacts or glasses? Statistics proven!
Hold on, just to get this even. Steph, a lot of video games?
Oh, yeah.
2020 vision?
Yep.
Hell yeah.
I'd ask Dan, but he's all the way back there. Dan, could you shout from the back whether or not you played a lot of video games growing up?
He owns a
and
video
if you
game
have
store. I kind of hope
glasses,
he did.
And you in chat, you let us know too.
CJ Playmaker, I have the blue blocking lenses as well. So it's one of those things that as the markets get bigger, more products are available to help kind of counteract it. Like when people started playing tennis, oh wow, my elbow really hurts. So eventually enough people did that. It's like, we have, athletic braces and stuff that can help with that. Done. Once it's there, then the stuff is there.
I mean, think about the amount of people. Just the first thing that popped in my head was like electrical engineers that have to look at computer screens for all day that they work. Oh, my eyes really hurt if I look at a screen. Well, work harder. Here's the thing. Wear this and then keep going back to work. Like,
as opposed to you should stop doing the thing. I wish I could. Very few video games.
Doctor, it hurts when I go to work. Well, stop doing that. But I need that job.
Stop doing that. That'll be $1,000. Very few video games. 2015 vision. Yeah. We get it. Moving on.
Now get back to work, Mr. Squidward.
Okay, what else did you have? Because all I have left is the Final Fantasy remake. I got through my topics.
So,
Dave, I got a question.
yes, question from the live audience here in the studio.
How is sitting there watching Netflix all day different than playing video games all day?
Please, no, you please.
For your eyes, I mean, like how's it?
Yeah,
different for
so
your eyes?
when you're watching something passively, yes, you're watching the screen, and the directors are calling attention to certain parts of the screen. You're looking at someone's face here, then you're looking at this point of interest here, and movies and TVs are made in such a way that you're focusing on one thing in the screen. Yes, there might be a lot going on in the frame, particularly in a really beautiful shot, but that's not all of them. In a video game, you are actively looking at all of the parts of the screen that you can to see every little piece. As you're playing a first-person shooter, you are looking for enemies. You're looking up here, you're checking here, you're looking for ammo that's dropped. You are looking around the terrain to see spots that you can take cover. You are looking all over the screen a lot more actively than you are when you're watching TV or movies. So like that can be a lot more headache inducing as well. Dave, what you got? He's got a phone in his hand.
I have just making sure that the folks who watch here are not
yes.
necessarily in the Discord have the question, but you answered in more eloquent terms. Surprise, surprised. What I was going to say in that video games are active engagement, because it's literally like if you look away from the screen. In any sports game, you've lost control of whatever the thing is, and you're out. Racing games, your car crashes.
If you're making a movie and your viewers are looking all over the screen the same way that they are in a video game, you are shooting it awfully. I've shot movies. It's actually, I guess, 9 years since the feature-length one that I worked on premiered within a couple days from now. And like I have that kind of background, and if I'm watching something and I have no idea where I'm supposed to be looking, the filmmaker has failed.
Yep. So the difference is just active and ocular engagement. You can't, and it's that whole idea of like we're trained back to that in school. You don't make something longer than 45 minutes. People physically cannot sit there and engage with it for longer than that without some sort of break, some sort of change in tone, in presentation. It's why video games, your quintessential. Why doesn't Mario just run through one level for 2.5 hours? Because we would be bored to piss about it. That's why you have the upper ground level. Then you go underground and it's darker. The color palette changes. The music changes. Then you go around and that's a different place.
Yeah,
like,
and that's why I can't work the job that I used to, because it was the same damn thing for 8 hours straight.
So, speaking of the same damn thing, the coronavirus. Folks,
Oh, okay.
at home,
We're tackling this.
we already technically tackled
Okay.
it, because a PSA from here, us at the Nerd Glasses,
Wash your
wash
hands
your damn hands with soap and water and soap.
for 20 seconds. That's Twinkle
At
Twinkle Little
least.
Star twice.
Hand sanitizer.
Don't use hand sanitizer. It's not a supplement for it. It's an accessory too.
You use it after you wash your hands.
Be like, just meh. We'll fight it like Bud Light as real men of genius.
Twinkle Twinkle Little Star twice. I think the chorus to Africa once.
Yep.
I saw something that was like the monologue of Out Damn Spot.
Dilly dilly to washing your hands.
That's 20-25 seconds, and that's very thematically appropriate, so I need to learn me some Shakespeare to know that one straight through.
There's so many things you can do, and yet just wash your hands.
I work retail, and someone who was covering on the second floor where there's a bathroom right there. She was, well, I'm a germaphobe for life now, because people, walking around coughing into their hands and touching stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Someone that you can hear hacking up a storm inside the bathroom. Definitely don't hear the water running of the sink. Oh my God, wash your hands. Now, like, coronavirus as a pandemic is rather blown out of proportion when it's compared to like the actual flu that has been a lot deadlier than the coronavirus strain that's big right now.
Yep.
I'm not saying don't worry about it, but I'm saying like there's stuff out there that should be just as bad. So it's like, yes, by all means, there's a media hyped pandemic scare out there, wash your damn hands. But also try it, just as normal hygiene. We'd all be a lot better.
So, with all that PSA,
All clean too.
with all that PSA aside, China has responded in an interesting way
Oh,
to this.
I can't even say, oh boy.
And it is one of the many things that they have done, but this one struck me as kind of funny. China went to the App Store on a bunch of
yes!
things and literally went, you know what? You know what? That game, Plague Inc., no more of that. No more of that in this country. Take it away.
If you're at all familiar with Madagascar shutting down everything, and originally it was Pandemic as a Flash game and then became Plague Inc. The game's been around for 6 or 7 years.
It's fun.
Continually a bestseller.
It's so much fun.
I paid the extra $1 to get rid of so you can fast forward it even faster.
Oh yeah,
So I can
Yeah.
play
Oh yeah, it's well worth the buck because it's an interesting study in the human ideal, because you know that once you've hit point of creep where you have a bunch of continents, there's going to be that one asshole who's going to go and break contamination, but they'd make a movie about it because they're really just trying to reunite with their family and they're not actually sick, and then they go to the northeastern hemisphere and they get everybody infected because you're an asshole and you should wash your hands.
Now, don't get me wrong, Plague Inc. is not like a scientific model, but it's still enough to be like, wow, look at this.
It's so
building up
closely
in-
modeled after Michael Crichton's novel that it can't be real. It just can't. Like,
But yeah, like, people, it's very popular to start your Plague in China because there's a ton of people there, and that's a good launching point to go elsewhere.
They can't get rid of it if I already have it.
well, you are a citizen of the United States of America.
In the App Store in China, not elsewhere.
Must be drenched with soap and hot water hourly.
So it's popular for people to start in China, but clearly that's not what you should do. You should start in Madagascar so that they can't
Oh
defend
my
themselves.
God, yes. That little pro
Because it
tip for
will
people that have
spread.
played a lot of that game. Start in
Maybe
Madagascar.
Greenland. Maybe Greenland. but-
Start in Madagascar. Make sure it's not a very apparent thing because otherwise Africa will just shut the borders off.
Oh no!
and
I
you're
mean,
done.
I mean, you just want like 100%. You play your game, and I mean, what I try to do every time, and if you have random mutations on because you're like I think a fungus mutates very rapidly,
Mm-hmm.
but like if you can keep away from the random mutations, you do it so that it's maximum infectiousness, minimum symptoms, and then you're like necropsy, everything bad, which is also not how plagues work. Like, it's not immediately global. How long
Amp
till we
Slayer with
just
a very
live like the
apropos
chlorine
question.
from Mass Effect.
I
Wow.
mean, let's be entirely honest. If there is intelligent life out there, they're going to visit our planet and they're going to go, "You dictate your weather but with a mammal? You do what now? No, no, no."
It's one of those Tumblr things where it's like, oh yes, we are a planet of death.
So that article just in particular screamed at me, and it was like, please.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm very glad that Plague Inc. got a plug here because that game is fun.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Super easy way to kill like an hour and a half if you're waiting in
And
the
the
doctor's
population
office.
of the world.
If you're
And
good.
7.5 billion people.
Speaking of the world, because they are the world, and they are the children.
Oh, no.
And one particular child, late last
These
month.
segues just always have me so nervous.
This one, on a fortunate note, a 7-year-old won a Pokemon championship,
Oh, good.
beating in the finals someone who was almost triple her age. Could not even reach over the table to shake their opponent's hand. Like, it was literally like one of these, like, and they had to like keep awkwardly like scooching each other closer. More specifically, the Pokemon
Meanwhile, I'm
Oceania
33.
International Juniors
Okay,
Championships
okay. Like I'm 33, 21. Dude,
in
still a kid.
Melbourne.
I'm just old.
A real hero to everyone. But you're talking about the 11-year-old GTA fan that stole a car. No, we're not talking about stuff like that. By the way, her first year competing, Simone Lim, the pronunciation's on the site here, so I don't feel bad about going at it. She's she's a 21-time regional champion.
When did you start competing? When you were 2?
I mean, yep, it almost has to be. But
It's like dance kids and we're like dance moms are like, oh yes, you're 24 months old. We're measuring your age in years now. Out on the dance floor you go. But except Pokemon. That's some darn good parenting.
I was kind of excited about it because let's be entirely honest. If you are of our generation, you started with some mechanics like Pokemon, and Pokemon was the game that kind of shaped your a better understanding of world building. That whole idea of you start with a thing, and then by the end of your journey, it is not the same thing than what you started with.
Yeah.
Building a team, relying on each other, knowing that Gary Oak's a gigantic...
There's kids in the store, so we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. It's just so perfect. Got to the Elite Four before you. Was the worst. My heart was entirely broken the first time that happened. I made sure to annihilate him with prejudice.
Man.
So, adorable news to bring things up a little bit. And this article that I'm going to bring up goes out to regular supporter of yours and mine content. Unfortunately, Bowling League is typically when this is going live. But a shout out to Rafe Wolf, or as just generally call her out in the programs, Jen.
Generally.
I'm going to have to ask you, Boater, did you know that Diablo 4 will let players use controllers on PC and pretty much rebind everything so that you can customize your controls?
Yay! I mean, like, it still feels weird to me, like, games that I grow up and use a mouse and keyboard to then go and use a controller. Like, a part of me is like, oh, that makes me feel weird. But full rebindability, is never a bad thing. There's going to probably be some good presets to start off with, but then when we were playing the Final Fantasy remake last night, there was like, I just want to switch these two buttons. I just want to switch these two buttons. That's on PS4, and at this moment with the demo, the option is not there. So the ability to rebind anything, yes please.
It'll definitely...
It's also like not... I would say it's not news, but a lot of... See, if a game is developed first on the PC, that's a given. If a game is developed first elsewhere, good luck. Like Nier Automata, if I wanted to play it on a controller, I think that's how I played it, was with a controller. Mm-hmm. And it was just, this is the control scheme. That's all you got, because it was developed first on PS3, I think.
Yep.
So...
And by God, companies are not going to take a controller that has
PS4.
7, 8, 10, 11, 12...
16?
Pretty much 16 different presses that are different and exclusive to each other.
4 face buttons, 4 D-pad, 2 trigger, 2 bumper. Mm-hmm. So that's 12. Start, select, and your thumbstick presses. Not to mention all of your analog axes, analog stick axes.
So... You know, that's a lot of button presses, not nearly as many as a keyboard.
Yeah, like, there's, when I was playing, it's been a while since I played American Truck Simulator, but I got the steering wheel controller, and that has maybe somewhere between 12 and 16 on it, and it's, like, not enough. Games that are developed on PC for mouse and keyboard will take full advantage of that, and it's really hard to bring that over to... a gamepad, but if it's being developed concurrently with consoles as Diablo 4 is, then they're making sure that the controls are streamlined enough to be able to manage that.
Which begs the entire question. Say it with me at home, folks. When are you playing Diablo?
I will play Diablo 3 at some unspecified point in the future, probably when Diablo 4 comes out.
Fair. But Boater, don't you have a phone? And can you not play the Diablo mobile game? Because people love mobile games. They want mobile games.
I might, just to piss off Jen, I might just download Diablo Immortal and stream that from my phone.
Please stream that from your phone, because the amount of, like, Ronin face or Katusha...
I'll just play it lying down on the couch, and they'll just, like, meh.
Or just all of a sudden just dog butt. Like, Boater El Diablo.
Okay, so let's move on to the community question and then talk Final Fantasy, and I think that's going to wrap us for the evening.
Absolutely. And if we do have time, I did purchase something for a taste test because it is very interesting. But 2v Tuesdays, taking a note from other programs, and was very excited to see that they grew upon the idea of what we were doing, and it was really cool. And now you're dropping their food. Jeez.
No, what I want to do is take the one that says birthday cake and say happy birthday, Dave.
Oh, thank you. So
That was spoiler. That was this and that were tied for first place.
Oh wow, okay. Interesting. And this and Nutty Buddies tied for first place.
And then
That's not what I would have gone
this
with,
was,
but okay.
This was last.
Anyway,
Cosmic Browies got last place. Aw,
I hate 2v Tuesdays now. Never watch them. No, I'm not gonna say it.
it's very mean.
I just find their.
I want to scooch. We're about to have a purchase.
yep.
The viewer question, by the way, and you still have time to get it in chat, is: as time is going on, what game would you still drop everything and play right now, or recommend for others to play in the same way? I got some answers considering, and I apologize that the question went out late. I didn't hit send, and so it just stayed in the Discord queue. And so, regular and friendo of the channel, Vladdy93, said, honestly, Team Fortress 2.
Yeah.
I used to play that game for hours on end, but recently I'll give it a good half an hour every now and then.
Yeah, TF2 is a really nice, simple pick up and play. I played it when it first came out. It never held me like Team Fortress Classic did, but I'm weird like that.
I really enjoyed Team Fortress 2, even though I enjoyed it in the worst possible form that it came in, and that was on the Xbox 360.
Yes, the orange
It was-
box on the 360.
It was the most basic version of the game, and yet I had the most fun with it.
Well, it's basically the release version of the game before they added a bunch of additional, hats and whatever else
Yeah.
added in.
Or
And-
just
and,
patches,
like-
just in general.
Yeah, and there's a simplicity to that. Yeah, I mean patches definitely. There's a simplicity to that, which is really nice too. I would. I'm going to give my answer, which comes off of that, and the answer is there is no one game. Like I think of a period of games for me,
Yeah.
steeped in nostalgia, and this includes games like Half-Life, particularly the first 4 levels of Half-Life, because I played the snot out of the Half-Life Day 1 demo, which was the first 4 levels of
Yeah.
the game. I would say, like Descent 2, Machines, Revolt, Roll Cage, like these games that I would absolutely just pick up and play for a couple hours.
Yeah.
With the slightest excuse. I tried doing Machines on my YouTube channel, and it ended up being not great for a Let's Play, but I still had a lot of fun picking it up and playing. So, I did a mini-series of Descent 2 on YouTube. It's kind of like a one-shot thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I did Revolt for a Classic Gaming Week one time. Just all these things that I played, and we'll say that window of 95 to 2000. The original Diablo. Give me half a chance, and I'm like, yes, yeah, I'm going to play that. Absolutely.
I didn't expect that answer out of you, honestly.
What were you expecting?
I was really expecting you to plug Mass Effect. I really, really thought in any form of it that was the thing you were going to pick up and
I
say.
mean, it doesn't take much for me to start playing Mass Effect. The thing is that, like, depending on the spirit of your question, if we're talking something that I can pick up and play and just play a little bit of,
Yeah.
sure. Mass Effect, I'm committed. Oh man, I'm doing a full playthrough of this right now.
Well, I just remember when you were going to casually capture something in the background while I was doing the recap, which was, again, it was going to be a 15-minute the whole process.
Yeah.
And it turned into about 30, 45 minutes of fun, but donuts on a moon.
Yeah.
So, the other answer on the Discord came from friendo of the channel, fantastic streamer, by the way, Amp Slayer. Amp Slayer _ on Twitch, just as a plug. Right now, it would have to be both the Persona and Trials of Cold Steel games. They are some of the few games that once I finish them, I can't seem to stop myself from starting them again, and this is after putting some cases 80 to 100 plus hours into them. I'm also always fighting the urge to start them up again. That's the sign of a story that is told well and does well when you finish it and then you think, but what if that after that 2 hour mark I went left instead of right?
Yeah.
Like,
Stanley Parable is a really good, like, there's a lot that you can do with it, but it's also, its very nature is I can drop in and play just through one of the ending types and just do that really quick. And what if I try this? Yes, I've played through all of them by now, so the what if isn't as strong, but,
Yeah.
like, absolutely.
CJ Playmaker in chat answering the prompt gave the answers of Pokemon, Madden, and Mario Party. All good games, good fun games. That's CJ_Playmaker here on Twitch.
Yep.
But again, all games that are very good and very fun and can get picked up and played just like that. For me personally, lately it's this game here. I don't know that I would recommend it, but I always find myself every time I'm like, I'm going to play something.
Okay, yeah.
And then I hearken back to this, for those of you who can't see close enough or may not necessarily be watching, the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3 era Godzilla game. Because it's fun. You drop onto a map, you're a big stompy creature, you stomp the crap out of the map, and then the game's over. Like, it does exactly as advertised, and it's a lot of fun. It's easy to hand to people because the controls it take a little bit of getting used to, but once you understand that you turn with the triggers instead of with the stick,
Yeah.
that's it. Like, everything else is the same as you would think, and your characters move as a lumbering. So I have a lot of fun with that one.
Mech Assault on the original Xbox. Drop in, stomp some buildings, shoot some mechs, done.
We are open in the Wilton Mall, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. There seems to be some sort of thing about if there's someone on the cast whose name starts with D from the Insane Games crew, Dan, Dave, anyone else, our programs will get constantly interrupted.
Yep.
Which is
Yep.
also fine.
That's fine, that's fine.
It's much love.
I cheat with the Citadel. I don't start till the store closes.
And it's a lot of fun. Shout out to our off-camera here, Logan, handling it like a boss. So, yesterday, a surprise came. And I didn't know this was happening. So it was a nice birthday present from a video game company that I make a lot of fun of, but I don't make fun of them in the same way that we make fun of EA or Activision Blizzard.
You make fun of them from a place of love.
Because they do stupid things, but they don't do evil stupid.
Yes.
They do
Yeah.
stupid.
Silly stupid. But this was not a silly stupid thing that they did, Dave. Who are we talking about?
We are talking, of course, about, and if you haven't looked at this yet, make sure you power on your PS4, and if you don't have one, go get one. Here at Insane Games, we also have one here in the Wilton Mall. But we are talking about Square Enix's long-fabled remaster of Final Fantasy VII.
It's not even a remaster, it's a remake, and there is a difference. So for those of you not aware, before we get to what happened yesterday, I mentioned before that like I hadn't played Final Fantasy VII, but I was kind of interested in the remake as a way to get into it, because again, unfortunately, the late 90s graphics, if you didn't grow up with the game, it's a barrier to entry. Like, I would have a hard time recommending some of my favorites from that time to people if they haven't played them before, for exactly that reason. So I'm like, oh yeah, cool, I could totally get into that. It is not the game with updated graphics. It is not the game with a slightly tweaked combat system. The game, I think, was, 40 hours to play when it came out in 1997?
They're in abouts, with faffing, without faffing.
Yeah, what they're doing is that they are taking the core idea of, the core of Final Fantasy VII, the core plot, the core characters, and making a brand new game suited for 2020. And they're releasing it in installments. So the first installment that comes out April 20th is going to be roughly 40 hours. And it's going to be the first part of the game, maybe the equivalent to like disc 1. So they are adding a ton. It's not, oh yeah, the top down, here's the route through the path and whatever. The story is staying the same, or at least the same beats, but it is completely reworked to work for 2020.
Yeah.
And I'm interested. I don't know yet if I'll play it. But you have the opportunity to check it out, because yesterday Square Enix dropped a demo of the game. The demo takes maybe an hour to play, you'd say. So we downloaded it yesterday, and Steph played it while I watched. And Steph, do you want to come on camera and talk about it, or just leave it to us? We got this. All right. It takes maybe an hour to play the demo, but it says this is what we're doing. If you weren't on board yet, you will be now. It does the opening cinematic. Now, I didn't grow up with Final Fantasy VII. Like I said, I never played it. So the intro to it isn't iconic to me. So before we watched, Steph said, I said, let me watch the original opening cinematic to Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Goes down to Aerith, comes out to the city, goes in on the train, whatever. And then we booted up the remake. And I had chills down my spine even though I'd seen the original cinematic 20 seconds earlier. Wow, do they have a statement right out the gate about, yes, it's what you remember, but man, are we doing something new with it. And what followed was an hour of Final Fantasy doing some of its best latest, slightly modifying the ATB system from Final Fantasy 15 that worked really well for that game. And so it's a real-time combat system. It's not like turn-based, anything like that. You can switch between your party members still. It has a lot of the core there, but absolutely updating it and doing such a great job. Has a boss fight in it that was like a starter boss, a nothing boss, barely a boss in 7, and in the remake is like at least in the demo is like a big deal, and like the big boss to fight in the demo. Just like really cool. If that's the if that's the direction that they're going, like I've said before, I'm not a fan of bosses that are just damage sponges and are gonna waste your time for 10 minutes. And that's what this felt like a little bit to me. So I'm still a little hesitant on that, but like the rest, I'm totally on board. I loved what I saw of the gameplay. Nightwing says, I tried the demo today. It was fun. I kept hitting the X button to attack, even though it's use. Attack is square, and to interact with stuff is triangle. And like I said, I felt like X and triangle should have been swapped, and I didn't have the chance to do that. We'll see if that happens in the full game. But yeah, so Dave, you, like you said, this was like Square Enix's birthday gift to you. What did you think of it?
It was well timed. It was intelligent of them to not announce that the demo was coming and just drop it.
Yep. Which, I mean, like, also dropping demos for games is very out of fashion, and I'm glad that a big release did it. Like, they usually just assume, like, you're gonna buy it anyway. Why are we gonna bother with the demo?
A couple years ago, too.
Yep.
They dropped the demo and then gave you a reward for playing the demo.
This one, they specified that the demo will not affect the gameplay because what you played in the demo could get scrapped. They may have had to watch people play it and they may throw it out, but that's the whole idea of like nothing helps playtest something than have a billion people touch it and like try to make it work. I really enjoyed it. I suffered the one thing that does actually happen though, where I played it, didn't bother to think that they might have updates to the demo.
Okay.
And so got about 24 minutes into the demo.
About, roughly.
Where it then crashed.
Oh, no.
And because I'm broadcasting directly from my PS4, it took both the curtains and the curtain rod and the window with it all at once. Still a very positive opinion of it. And moreover, this is the whole idea of why I'm super excited about it. Final Fantasy VII is when you think of Final Fantasy VII, that's the one that even if people never played it, 7 is the picture that comes to people's heads.
Yeah.
So you are tackling the quintessential picture of everyone of this is a good game. Whether people know it or not, or share that opinion or not, that's the picture. And when you try to remake something that has such high opinion, you really got to go for it. And this is the company to do it.
I think they're doing a great job so far. You did say something about how, like, whatever we played isn't guaranteed to be in the game. And I think that, like, that level will be in the game. I think that some of the specific challenges in it will be different. Like, that Scorpion boss may not be quite so tough in the final version of the game, but they wanted to give you a sense of what that would be like. It's, one of my favorite demos was for The Force Unleashed. It takes maybe half an hour to play. But like we sat there and played it for hours one night, going through, having fun with the AT-AT boss at the end. And that level is in the final game, but not in exactly the same format. It's not an AT-AT boss at the end that finishes things off. There's more to the level after that. I think that that's similar to what we'll see here. Like, the specifics within it are going to be different, but as you play the game, you're like, that level will be there. It'll just probably feel a little bit different in context.
And for those of you who are afraid, I'll get to chat and address chat in just a second, but that, when you hear the words episodic, that should cause a little bit of a panic, especially with all of the microtransactions that have been foisted into gaming these days.
When's Half-Life 2 Episode 3 coming out?
But as someone that
I'm
looked
still
at
waiting
Square
on my
Enix
Human sequel.
and said, out of all the things, almost all the things in Dave's lifetime, Square Enix is the one company that hasn't spat in my eyes and called it rain. They call a spade, and they remade Hitman, but they made it episodically. And so I bought the deluxe edition up front because I said, I'm in. Give me what you got. And you know what? That's actually a game I play to this day.
Nice.
Because episodically it was done well. Because Square Enix knows that if you do something well, people will stick around and they will buy the future episodes if they only bought one installment.
Yeah.
Or they will play the one episode, they will be content with it, and then they won't buy future ones, but you also won't be seeing ichor and vile posts and downvotes like certain other people who remaster a lot of their properties and then leave people out in the cold with them. So the Final Fantasy VII demo, I really liked it. I'm very excited for it because that is the way that I was picturing Yonder Time and Ago when you're looking at pixels and polygons and all the like blocky faces and things like that. But you didn't see that at the time. You saw an expression.
Yes.
You saw the pain. You saw the happiness. You saw the things like that. And it really did help to change what you saw and what you were doing. And it really did help to build on these ideas. And the fact that this game captures, when you start the game, Cloud is not an accepted member of this group. And people don't like him. And you immediately know that based upon everyone's actions and everyone's demeanor and things like that. Whereas in the blocky polygon days, it was just because all of the characters kept a 3/4 turn away from him.
Yeah.
Whereas in this game, you got to see everyone mugging at him.
I was like, so my main exposure to the world of Final Fantasy VII is through Advent Children, where everyone's friends, everyone's chums after that, whatever. So to see Barrett being like, you're a piece of shit.
And blatantly so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, like, from that perspective, and there was, like, I saw some comparisons of how Aerith looked in, like, her close-up of the opening cinematic of the remake compared to her close-up in Advent Children, which was 13, 14 years ago, 15 years ago, and just, like, how well, like, it's gorgeous. The game is gorgeous. And again, like, the stuff that's real time, and I can tell when they switch to something pre-rendered, not necessarily because visually, but the screen blacks out really quick for a second and then cues up the pre-rendered cutscene, but still, like,
it's a Final Fantasy
seamless.
game. They do that a lot.
I can't wait to see Cloud in a dress. Steph seemed rather turned on while she was playing the game last night. Sorry to say, like, the way that the boss went, she was like, if it was like this, I can't wait to see what Sephiroth's going to be like. I was like, Steph, are you okay?
He's going to
like,
be gorgeous. That man is going to be a porcelain god. And I cannot wait to look upon his visage and then remember that at the end of the game, his ass is grass. It's going to be the best.
So really quick, so that's the Final Fantasy VII remake that comes out April 20th. Really looking forward to that. It is a timed exclusive. It will be on the PS4 only on the PS4 for exactly 1 year, and then on the 20th, April 20th next year, it'll be available on PC and maybe other platforms besides. But really quick, it is 8:30. But Dave, what did you bring for our taste test? Which has been a nice thing that we've done, and I do kind of want to have at.
So, I thought I would try to blend in with all the other cool kids on the channel.
You know what? Never mind. We're done.
That's fun. And talk a little bit about sports ball.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, for those of you who don't know, Anthony Davis is a player who made a little bit of controversy because he was a player on the New Orleans Pelicans. Shitty name, not a shitty team, but not great. And he decided to take his talents in free agency.
They're also a new team. You can't poop on them yet.
Their name blows, though. The Knicks are bad, and I know that, and I say it with confidence. But he moved to the Lakers, where surprisingly, all of a sudden he's getting endorsement deals with things like Ruffles. So I go, they have talent now. That's a CJ Playmaker. CJ, who are you defending? I just bashed like 4 teams. But he moved to the Lakers, where he teamed with superstar and Dan rival LeBron James. Also the man who ensured that in a recent iteration of a different show that somebody had to shave their head, and it was glorious. But that's cutting onions and talking about old things. Zion Williamson and the Pelicans. Well, yeah, because they knew they could get rid of Anthony Davis and move on to the future of their program, which Zion is indefinitely going to be. That's enough sports ball talk for this channel.
I already tuned out 2 minutes ago.
So,
Continue.
Anthony Davis paired up with Ruffles, and he decided to combine lime and jalapeno on chips.
So, I'm not one for messing around with flavors on chips too much, and I'm never really much one for lime flavor. I'm going to give this a go, simply in the same spirit that I humored my Canadian friends with ketchup chips, which are disgusting. I don't care how much you take pride in them, just because you need something. Stick with poutine. Ketchup chips are gross.
What about pickle chips? Have you had pickle chips?
I have had pickle chips. They were fine. I mean, they weren't great, but they were fine. All right. Lime and jalapeno.
You want that one? No?
Yes, Dave. I'll try one just so you don't heckle me about not trying it because it's hard. I'll take a big one too, just for you.
That's got a jalapeno kick to it. Like, I can't really taste much in the way of lime, actually. That's got a that's jalapeno flavor. Not bad.
I like it.
Yeah.
I really like it because I had both lime and jalapeno. Got an earthy taste to it. It's very good. Spoiler alert, this is actually the second bag that's going to be in my household because Claire and I tried them a while ago because I mentioned casually that I saw a commercial for it and I was like, I really want to try these. And then she bought a bag and now both of us are eating them.
They're not too bad.
Yeah. I definitely only have a couple in a row.
I was going to imagine that.
Well, here you go.
These are chips that I would sit on the couch, pop open, and just eat.
And then next thing you know, an hour has passed and you've eaten the entire bag and you're like, oh no, regrets?
I mean, an hour has passed and the bag is gone, but nah, no regrets.
Okay. I did that with a box of Freihofer chocolate chip cookies one time. Just the entire box.
Oh,
I had
classic
regrets.
shit.
It was delicious, but,
Those you can sit in.
you know. All right.
Aren't those Canadian?
I think we're gonna have to wrap this. There was an announcement that Death Stranding is gonna be coming to PC, but we'll have to talk about that some other time.
You mean we're going to have to push Death Stranding another week?
Womp womp.
My God.
Thank you all so much for watching the Nerd Glasses podcast tonight. It's been a really great show. I enjoy some of the stuff that we talked about. I think my recap episode is just going to be how bad I got you with that opening joke. My recap clip. I had a ton of fun, so thank you guys for watching. I've been Boater.
I've been Dave, man.
And stay tuned right here for The Citadel, where instead of playing a video game, we will be playing a board game. Star Wars Monopoly. And I'm going to be playing it with my wife, and I will probably end up sleeping on the couch tonight. Stay tuned right here for The Citadel to see that. Thanks, guys.